Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back. We're working today for the Lyran Commonwealth against the Circinus Federation, and we're looking for a mech that the Circinus Federation has captured from Lyran forces. We are to destroy it, rather than see it fall into enemy hands. So, that's roughly where our target is going to be, broadly speaking to our north, and it showed our evac point, which we almost certainly will not use. Now, we do have one very important change. Announcer, one of our first pilots, has for the longest time been quite comfortable in an Atlas. Well, particularly an Atlas that carried an improved heavy Gauss rifle, and this has been replaced now by a Battlemaster, an 85-ton assault mech as opposed to a 100-ton assault mech, carrying double ultra autocannon 5s, so 4 AC-5 shots, and not 1, not 2, not even 5, but 7 extra range medium lasers of clan design. So they run a little hotter than the standard ER mediums, but they also deal 5 points more damage per, which will be very nice. Now, our initial deployment is a little bit awkward. We're up on the top of a hill, which could be very nice. It could, however, also mean that we have our forces split up a little bit, and it'll be kind of hard to bring them all to bear at once, because I have a habit of stripping jump jets, which I have continued here. So we do also have the Phantom making a return appearance, piloted by McWraith once more, and this thing is our scout. So the idea is, well, I think anyway, we're going to move this way along the ridge, come down here if we need to in order to engage frontally with an enemy lance. It'll take us a little bit of time going through these woods, particularly for the slower mechs like the Battlemaster, but I think that's okay. And in the meantime, we can get some nice scouting from our Phantom, and also from the Super Griffin, which does not only have jump jets, but basically has one of the longest jump ranges that I have yet seen on a mech. We do also have the Osprey up top as well, and that is a decent scout, just again, no jump jets, so we have to actually come down before we can really make use of that. So let's go ahead and sprint way on up here with the Phantom. We do have enemy radar contact, which is nice. That means that they'll start moving our way. And there's also reinforcements coming in. Probably extra Circinan, but it could be allied, well, allied to them anyway, so of some other faction. And we have their location. I think that's actually fine for us. We will get a nice elevation bonus shooting down from this ridge. We just might have a little bit of trouble with the range on some of our other guns. So, where is that radar contact? I don't see it. Interesting. Okay, well, let's see if we can observe down, and there it is. Okay, so it looks like the mech of interest is actually an Atlas, an AS-7D. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I could always use another Atlas to refit. Although we have one now, because it was the AS-7D that the Announcer had been piloting and had seen our first custom refit. So we'll take the Osprey, and I think we'll come down a little bit with the Osprey. Bit of a questionable choice, and I, per usual, forgot to pop the defensive formation that will help all of our mechs stay alive until just now. 50-50 shot with the Gauss rifle, but we may as well take it. I don't think we'll be fighting insane odds on this mission. We do unfortunately miss. And I don't want that Phantom going up against an AS-7D. I don't think it can stand up to the SRM fire, the LRM fire that it will take even at closer ranges. I think that could work out very poorly for us if we're not careful. So instead, let's circle around this way. It does unfortunately mean that we're back to only a radar contact on that Atlas, but that's okay for right now. He's getting a little closer. We've taken our first shot. It's like, you know, hey, we're here. This is where we are. We have teeth, kind of, maybe, if we can actually manage to find a target. And this is where, I mean, so many of these things are analogous, or, well, are analogous or not to other types of traditional warfare, and, you know, being standoffish and firing in with either artillery, which we will have online very soon, or something like Gauss rifles just reminds me of sitting really far back and taking pot shots with some sort of of heavy cruiser, battle cruiser, battleship type deal. Which is, I don't know, it's a kind of fun analogy for me at least. Super Griffin, moving over a little bit, I think as far as our forward scouting capabilities are concerned, I think that Griffin is a little bit more robust against something like an assault. We do have eyes on the enemy reinforcing lance. It looks like 2 quick draws and a couple other things. Yeah, 2 quick draws, both the 4G variety. There's a primitive Griffin and also a Thunderbolt 5 PA. And excuse me, just a moment here. We actually might have a guest on the recording as well, so that could be a fun time. So we can't take any shots in quite yet at these reinforcing max 8 evasion pips. Is far too much for us to be able to have any sort of accuracy. So let's reserve down, try and get them to move first, and then, okay, so that's the Atlas coming over toward us, and now they have no choice but to move. So we'll try and let them get clumped together again. If they do, and then open up with artillery. In the meantime, let's get better scouting on, hopefully at least better scouting on that Atlas. There it is. Not very good accuracy on our part, and I think I'm going to save the precision strike for next turn. We might be able to open up with those Streak SRM 6s. Are those Yarnfolk? That's a Yarnfolk lance. Okay. That's a choice. It's not who I would have gone to for allies, but hey, to each their own. Battlemaster is unfortunately a little bit slow, particularly going through these woods. We're going to have a hard time opening up with anything decent accuracy on this turn. But I think we will go ahead and take Bomb Squad himself and the Red Reaper. He won't have any firing solutions here, but we did activate that defensive formation ability again now that we actually have significant Op4 on the field. I say significant, I know we field 8 mechs, but some of ours are a little bit lighter, a little bit more prone to, say, accidental injury if we're not careful. And the rebuilt Timberwolf. So this Timberwolf for a while now has featured advanced tactical missiles, or ATMs, and we've since replaced those with SRMs, and here is the detriment to them. We are no longer in range where we ordinarily would be, both with standard and with high explosive advanced tactical missiles available to us. 2 misses off the Timberwolf, still actually no damage on this reinforcing lance done to them so far, but let's get the Highlander up and see what we can do. So I want the long-time artillery firing in. We're going to switch from shape charge to high explosive, turn off the LRM-20 for now, and where's our best shot? So that's our best chance to hit, but not our best in terms of damage spread, so let's go ahead and use Precision Strike on this quick draw. And because we are only firing with one of these weapons and we have a advanced targeting computer in this guy, we are ignoring all of their damage resistance, which is very nice. I think we'll fire in for the torso there. We probably won't hit it directly, but if we do, yeah, we didn't. But a lot of damage there going in, and this is why this mech has been a wonderful addition. If we look, quick draw actually did take damage directly to that right hand torso, but everyone around him also saw at least a slight amount of damage that will help us chew through them a little bit more quickly. So we have an Announcer now able to find a target. Yeah, I mean that's not great, but we can do it. We can also go ahead and use Battle Lord, which will give us additional damage and accuracy. Switch on to one-shot fire mode to avoid the recoil for next turn. And yeah, we landed 1. 31 damage is not horrible. It does sort of pale in comparison a little bit to the Madcap Mark II Death Strike, which has, of course, 2 Ultra Autocannon 10s. It's a larger caliber, a little bit shorter range, but that doesn't really matter if we don't have an angle on them to begin with. So that hill stopping us from seeing good targets is really, taking a lot out of our firepower, at least on this turn. So good damage there across the quick draw. Opened up the leg and both torsos, which is pretty nice. And now I think let's go ahead and try and flank a little bit with the Osprey and keep pounding that one quick draw to take those guns off the field that much quicker. good accuracy here. Gauss rifle does land. And that is a mech destroyed. So, of the 5 mechs that we're facing now, that's 1 down. And not the scariest of them, maybe, but 1's better than nothing. So the Phantom is going to get danger close to that Thunderbolt and try and make good use of those heavy smalls. We are still a little bit overcooled with this mech, so full Alpha Strike not building any heat is usually not what you want. But we were able to dig through that left torso, and again, even if this Phantom can't stay here, we have done damage to internal structure, which, if we're shooting from the front with the rest of our lance, they'll have to chew through less in order to take that torso out. So we will have to duck and move in order to stay alive, but that was worth something. That was not a waste of time, I would say. We're going to run all the way over here with probably the fastest mech I've ever seen hit the field, or at least have fielded myself. And now he's much more out of harm's way than if we'd stayed around to get a second hit. I think the Osprey can go ahead and move. We'll get a nice flanking shot here on the quick draw. For those of you who may or may not be new to the game, that side angle shot does increase your accuracy, but it also changes your clustering rules. So the frontal shot, you have a decent chance of hitting center torso, side torso, anything like that. Roll basically highest odds are center torso. Side angle like this, you're probably not going to hit anything except for these sides. There's a very small chance it can go around the back, but it's like 2 or 3% chance. I think it's very small. But the facing is actually reflected in your hit locations, which I find is a wonderful way to take mechs down, because a lot of the times they'll have extra large engines, and if it's anything but a clan extra large, killing one of the side torsos is enough to kill the mech. If it is a clan extra large, or if it's just a standard engine that doesn't have that vulnerability, well, then you still do really excellent damage to it and weaken its ability to fight back by taking out some of its guns. And that's going to happen a little bit quicker than if you didn't have that side shot, because you wouldn't be able to necessarily cluster your damage as conveniently. So we're going to open up Precision Strike here, trying to kill that damaged side torso, and hopefully pour through the mech entirely. And yeah, actually, that gets it done. I think it was an ammunition explosion. Some of the less technologically advanced mechs will die outright to ammunition explosions as well, because that damage from the explosion travels through to their center torso. So that's how that works. We're going to reserve down to 4, and they might move the Thunderbolt now. They do. That's okay. No damage coming in on our Timberwolf, and I think we are, well, a little bit overtuned for the difficulty of this mission, which it said it was a 5 skull. It's about, I mean, there is no difficulty, stated difficulty anyway, higher than that. But the actual difficulty varies quite a bit based off of, you know, who you're fighting, and there's actually a roll system that goes on for the number of lances that you fight. So if you roll, I guess, technically speaking, if you roll well, you have a low amount of opposition for the same payout, but I tend to find that I prefer to roll poorly and really just see how many of the out 4 we can take down. So again, looking for that side torso, and I should have switched back to a double fire mode. Doesn't matter. Battlemaster getting its first kill of the entire campaign. Not Announcer's first, not his pilot's first kill, but certainly his own first kill. And now we can move up. There's only 1 enemy left in either spot, so we are, well, let's look at our accuracy. Yeah, we'll stay with HE for this because I don't have confidence that we'll be able to, yeah, no, that was nowhere near. We still did get damage in on him just because of the blast radius from that artillery shell, which is good enough for me. So we'll reserve down again now, and I want this Atlas to move before we do. Yeah, firing into the Super Griffin, and not even landing an LRM, which is kind of impressive. The Griffin's ability to jump quite as far as he does really does protect us from a lot of return fire. So now let's get up close and personal. Precision Strike, slow this guy down to moving on 1, increase our own accuracy. Standard formula. And yeah, that was a full Alpha Strike, and that mech is still standing tall. So I think we'll stand here, try and kill the Griffin, Well, their Griffin, not our own. Good damage. The Madcap Mark II is exposed, but I've done that for a reason. And that is, this mech is visible from both of these, well, from the perspective of both of our enemy mechs. And because he doesn't have any evasion, that actually makes him a decent target. However, that mech has virtually undamaged, very, very, very good armor of his own, and they're not going to get through it in one turn or even two at this point with how few mechs they have left on the field. So my hope is to be a more tempting target than the light mech right next to this guy with 7 evasion pips. We'll see if we can actually have that happen. It might not. Sometimes they just go for whoever's closest. And I can't blame them. I mean, there is an element to accuracy for range, so that can offset things like attempted strategic evasion management. We unfortunately missed a 70% chance with the Gauss rifle. It is a little close range for that sort of weapon, but I was hoping we'd be able to knock the Griffin down, and we don't. So he does get a chance to move, but I think this will probably be our last round for this battle, keeping it nice and quick. But unfortunately without too much, well, too many plot twists and intrigue and all that sort of thing. So we do now have a precision strike available, and I think we will go in just to show you guys how much a shaped charge can do. But we'll also follow up with LRMs set to follow the leader, which means that unlike normal clustering rules, wherever the first one rolls, all of the rest will follow, and we're going to go right for that center torso. Whether or not we hit it is another matter. And yeah, that mech is down. So that shaped charge on the Long Tom, I think it's actually quite often overlooked for just, you know, the amount of high explosive area of effect damage you can do, but that was no slouch. 140 damage to, I think, the CT just off of that one charge, and then following up with the LRMs for crit seeking was more than enough to kill that mech. Now, we're running a little bit hot here. I tend to find that streaks don't usually fire if they're below about 70% chance to hit, which is what we're at right now. Because again, every single missile has to roll a hit, or else it won't fire at all. But we do get lucky, and that is going to be all of the outpour on the field. So we've won. That's evac. Thank you guys for hanging around, and we'll see you again real soon.